Welcome back to Doctoring Differently. I'm Dr. Naomi Lawrence Reed, and today we're talking locums. I have alluded to it in my other videos, but I've been doing locums for 3 years and I love it. And I know a lot of physicians are very curious about it, so that's what we're going to talk about. Really quick to set the stage, I am a general pediatrician. I was working in an academic emergency room for 3 years after I finished residency. That was my first job. I imagined myself going into fellowship and becoming a pediatric emergency department specialist. But after a few months, but then I continued to work for a few years there, I started sensing the signs of physician burnout and depression, and dreading going to work, and feeling very underpaid, overworked, underappreciated, and feeling very much like an impersonal cog in the wheel of the department, of the hospital system. And at that moment, I knew that I needed to take a chance on myself and the things that I was curious about doing within medicine. I was looking down the proverbial barrel of a 20, 30-year career, and I did not see it in that kind of environment, or an environment that I thought did not appreciate me or compensate me the way that I deserved. So in 2017, I left that position. I have talked about getting a per diem contract. That was the first thing I did in another hospital in town, so that I could immediately start making money again. And I had bills and I had loans, like so many of us do. So I did not have a big nest egg to rest on. I took a couple months off, and then I got right back to work on a per diem contract. And at the same time, I began talking to locums agencies. And I'm sure we've all started getting those calls and emails in residency, offering a big number with a lot of zeros after it to fly to some far-flung part of the country and work for a few weeks, a few months, and make money and come back home, presumably. But I certainly understand that is a big risk for a lot of physicians, just because it is so unknown and maybe you've never heard of anyone doing that. So for me, I live in California, and early on I decided I didn't want to go through the hassle of getting another medical license for another state. California is a big state, and I figured that there would be enough hospitals outside of the major cities of San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego that I could find a community hospital that maybe had a bigger, more pressing need for a physician on a locums or temporary contract. Because once you do go an hour or two east, off the coast of California, it turns into a different looking state. It is often very rural, and doctors and physicians can be underrepresented in those areas. So, speaking to the agencies, I told them my terms. I did not want to leave California. That was the only license that I had and that I intended to have at the time. And I preferred Southern California. I wanted to stay within 2 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours of where I lived. I didn't want to have to I didn't want to have to fly or to, connecting flights. I wanted to be able to hopefully get there by driving. So a few opportunities came by. With locums, you present you give them your CV and your qualifications, and they are your agent. It's like Hollywood. They shop you around, or they present you to different hospitals, and they do your bidding for you. So they'll negotiate your terms in your contract. They're the intermediary. You do not have any direct conversation with the hospital itself. You will know the name of the hospital and the department, of course, but that agent, who is not a physician, not a medical person, will do all of the bidding and speaking between you and the hospital. But through that person, you can negotiate your terms, you can negotiate your hours, you can negotiate the days, the length of period you're at that location, whether it be weeks at a time, days at a time, months at a time. Every point is negotiable. I'm a big fan of negotiating both a 24-hour call rate and an hourly rate. Sometimes these community hospitals can be somewhat slow. There can be ebbs and flows of patient volume, so you want to make sure that if you are taking yourself to that community and waiting on call in a hotel room, that you're still being compensated for your time and for being there. So negotiating a high 24-hour call rate and then a comparable hourly rate for the hours you are working in the hospital and on the floors will be so important to do moving forward. So that is exactly what I did. I have now been coming to this location for over a year and a half. It is a monthly basis, but this is a community that needs my services, that I've formed a good relationship with, and that works. So, I understand for a lot of doctors, we like that reliable, predictable paycheck every week. We have bills, we have loans, but being able to do this kind of work has exponentially increased my income in a number of other additional things that I do that I'll talk about in other videos, but this is a main part of it, and I'm able to kind of play Tetris with my schedule and establish my week-long period that I'll be here, but then have other things, per diem work, other work that I do when I'm back home. So I think Locums is truly a great supplement or full-time opportunity for most physicians. Quite frankly, I was inspired by the travel nurses I used to work with in the emergency room, as they'd be kind of up and down and in and out and here and there and traveling, and again, negotiating their contracts and having people doing the bidding on their behalf. And now that I'm doing it, I am a big, strong proponent for doing just that. I think so many doctors, we get stuck in our the city we're in and the life we're in and the hospital we're in, and quite frankly I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more for me to do and that there were other opportunities I wanted to explore, and I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I took that chance 3 years ago on myself and on doing this. I just want doctors to know that we are the talent. These hospitals can't run and can't function without us. And I certainly understand in these big hospital systems and in academic medicine, you feel like you don't have a voice. You feel like you don't have any negotiation power, that you come in, what they're offering is what they'll get. And quite frankly, they're squeezing us so tightly with high patient volumes and required RVUs and weekend and overnight calls and coverage. And I just think we're going to reach a tipping point very, very soon. And I think that this younger generation of medical students and residents and physicians will be putting themselves, their qualities of life, the interests that they have, their families, in front of a prestigious title or job within an academic setting. So, here I come to this community. I've been coming for over a year. I am staying about 10 minutes from the hospital. Of course, the hotel, the suite is paid for by the agency. I've been given a rental car, and all of those terms are negotiated and covered. So it is at no cost to me to come here and to do these shifts. And at this point, I've been coming to the same location, which I prefer. I've learned a new system, but being flexible is so important. But I have been coming to the same hospital for over a year on this kind of contract. So I do at this point have a relationship with the staff and the nurses and the other physicians who do work here. And I really enjoy it. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm grateful that I've had this opportunity, and I'm not opposed to others either. I think that so much more of this flexibility and quite frankly, understanding our worth and our value is going to revolutionize medicine. I think that a lot of the power has been taken from us. And this is one way to reclaim, I think, freedom, negotiation power, and increasing your income entirely in a way that is entirely up to you. You can decide, I want to work more, therefore make more. And it's not an end of the year dangling of an RVU metric that will determine whether you make a salary that you want. But here, when I'm doctoring differently and doing this and doing per diem and doing aesthetics and doing telemedicine and all of the things I do, I have been able to truly, truly, truly exponentially increase my quality of life and make time for the things that I want to do, because what matters to me is what matters. What matters to you is what matters. And whether it is being home to put your kids to bed every single night, or being able to take a month off to travel across the country or across the world, what matters to you is what matters. And doctors are not a monolithic group. We are not just doctors. We're so many other things, and we should have the power and the freedom to explore all of those other things as often as we want to. Our minds have gotten us this far, but I think that we can trust our instincts and our guts. We will never hit rock bottom. We have so much that we can always leverage. We have our minds and our degrees that we can leverage for income at any point in our lives. So even taking a step back from academics or full-time clinical medicine to explore other things, you can always go back. You can always go back. Those other things that you're leaving will be there. So take some time for you, get quiet, think about what really is important for you, and know that you really can create the exact life that you want. So thanks for watching, tuning in to Doctoring Differently. I am so excited to keep talking about all of my experiences, and hopefully I want to hear from you. I want to hear your questions. If you've done locums, I want to hear about your experiences too, good or bad, and we can talk about all of them. But stay open, stay flexible, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.